from the News Channel 5 Network and the Tennessee Department of Labor and Workforce Development. This is State of the Workforce.
Hi everyone, and welcome to State of the Workforce. I'm Chris Cannon. We have a lot to get to today, but first an update on the focus of June's State of the Workforce, early childhood education. The lack of childcare in many parts of Tennessee is a workforce development issue. If parents cannot find childcare, they most likely cannot work. A few weeks ago, the department and Lipscomb University in Nashville officially kicked off their partnership to start Tennessee's first early childhood education registered apprenticeship program. The teacher apprentices will work in child care centers and take online courses at Lipscomb to earn their bachelor's degree. This program will remove many of the barriers that keep people from pursuing this degree, including tuition and books. Lipscomb's Foundations to Future is a true earn while you learn program that will benefit all Tennesseans. Now let's move on to today's workforce focus. The Tennessee Bureau of Workers' Compensation, or BWC. The BWC administers Tennessee's workers' compensation law for both employees and employers. Troy Haley and Marion Wright join us to talk about workers' compensation across the state of Tennessee. And thanks so much for being here today. Troy, tell us, for people who might not be familiar with the workers' compensation and the Bureau, kind of what you do and the gist of why you're there.
Okay, well, the Tennessee Bureau of Workers' Compensation is the administrative agency that administers the work comp law in Tennessee. In Tennessee, the state does not pay workers' comp benefits. Those benefits are paid by the self-insured employers or their work comp insurance carriers. So what we do, we help answer questions. If there's a dispute, what we do is talk to the injured worker, talk to the employer. We have ombudsman, we have mediators, we have a court system of judges who hear workers' compensation claims, and we try to facilitate this solution to all of those issues that might come up during the workers' compensation claim process.
Now, you spoke about the I can't say this word, ombudsman program there. Why is that so critical, and how does that help the employees across Tennessee?
Right. It helps the injured workers and their employers with questions that they might have if there's a work injury. A lot of the times they can call our ombudsman line. Ombudsmen are there every day to try to help answer questions. If we're not able to answer the questions that the ombudsman get, we have mediators and the court system that kicks in, but the ombudsmen are they're like the front line. Mm-hmm. They get the hard questions on the front end, and to their credit, a lot of the times they're able to work out a dispute before it has to go through the full legal process with the mediator and the court system.
So when someone's injured on the job, they can recover, but they might not be able to recover back to where they were, so they can't really have that job they had before. That's got to be pretty scary. And the Bureau has a program for that called Next Step. And what does that do?
Well, Chris, the Next Step program is a vocational recovery program for injured workers who were not able to return to their previous employer prior to their injury. And the Next Step program connects them with public institutions and nonprofit organizations such as the American Job Centers, the Goodwill Career Centers, and also monetary resources such as the Tennessee Reconnect Grant or Pell Grant financial aid. We connect them with those resources to help them acquire the knowledge and skills that they need to return to meaningful employment. And the Next Step program also offers a scholarship to injured workers who are eligible in the amount of $5,000 per fiscal year, and they can receive up to $20,000 in their lifetime. However, if they are not interested in going back to school, we can also assist them with resume writing skills, interview preparations to help them return back to the workforce. And we try to encourage them to work within their restrictions. So we're helping them to find jobs that won't be re-injured after going back to work.
How often does that happen, that someone's injured to an extent to where they can't go back to that previous job? Is it more common than people would think?
Yes, it is. I mean, we have a lot of injured workers who have lost limbs, who have prosthetic legs, or who were traumatized with PTSD, and they just cannot return back to their previous employer. So they have to, if they worked in retail and they kept getting robbed, they may, that they are traumatized. So they want to be in a work environment where they're not dealing directly with the public. So,
change of scenery can do everybody good. Yeah, that's
yes,
for sure.
Exactly.
Well, Troy, the key here is, both sides coming to an agreement, but as we know, that's not always a possibility. How does the Bureau step in and take care of those situations, or help at least mediate those situations?
Right. So we have a mediation program. If the ombudsman were not able to facilitate an agreement, and they're really the backbone of the Bureau, the ombudsman are the frontline people. Next in line would be the mediation staff. If there's a dispute that can't be worked out, a petition for benefit determination, basically a lawsuit, is filed with the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. It gets assigned to a mediator. That mediator reaches out to all the parties, tries to find out what the dispute is about, and more often than not, maybe 3 times out of 4, the mediator is able to facilitate an agreement, so it does not have to go into litigation with the Court of Workers' Compensation claims.
And what happens then? And you said there's a Court of Compensation claims, and you have judges and courtrooms in cities across the state.
Correct. If the mediator is unable to facilitate an agreement, it gets transferred. The claim gets transferred to a Court of Workers' Compensation claims judge. We have judges. 12 judges spread across the state in 7 offices across the state. There's a hearing room, courtroom in every one of those offices, and they have a full expedited hearing or compensation hearing, a trial, basically, if the dispute can't be voluntarily worked out.
And if somebody gets through all that and they need that extra step, Mary, and that next step, who qualifies for that? How do you determine who's open for that program?
Well, the injured workers qualify for the Next Step program if they have a compensable work injury and their doctor has assigned them an permanent impairment rating that indicates that their injury is permanent. And then they must receive a disability award for not returning back to work or returning to work at a lower wage. And pretty much if someone does not qualify for the Next Step program, particularly our scholarship, I will still help them and connect them with those resources that I spoke about earlier. So it's not that I just don't assist them, they just may not be eligible for the scholarship. Yeah.
Well, that's a great program there. Well, thank you very much for giving us an overview of what BWC does. We appreciate that, and there's much more coming up. Education is a big part of what the Bureau does and its mission, keeping Tennessee's employers and lawyers up to date on the latest advances in the workers' comp world. Compliance is key, and we'll talk about that coming up next on State of the Workforce. And we continue our focus on the Tennessee Bureau of Workers' Compensation with a look at how the BWC works with employers across the state. Claudia Byers and Lance Wheaton are here now to continue that conversation. And you work closely with employers, and how does that benefit both the employer and the worker?
Yeah, so we want to work with all of the employers that are operating in Tennessee to make sure that they have the workers' compensation insurance coverage that they need. And when they have that, it really benefits everyone. So for employers and the business community, it helps to create an even playing field. Workers' compensation insurance can be pretty expensive depending on what industry you're in. And when you've got employers out here that aren't carrying and aren't providing the required coverage that they have, it leaves the law-abiding employers behind. They're not able to compete because the businesses that are kind of skirting around the law are able to offer their goods and services for a lower price. So when everyone has insurance, it's a win-win for the employer and the employee. One work-related injury could be catastrophically, financially, just
sure.
It could be a major blow for either the employer and the employee. So we want to make sure that the insurance is in place, it really gives the employee a peace of mind that if something happens to them when they're injured at work, it's taken care of and they don't have to worry about how am I going to put food on the table for my family.
Is that something an employee should think about and ask their employer, hey, do you have this, to make sure that they're on the up and up and they are covered?
Yeah, definitely. Not every employer in the state has to have workers' compensation. Okay. Generally, if you're in construction, yes, you have to have it for everybody. And for non-construction, it's for businesses that have 5 or more employees. So if you're working for, and most do, most have 5, or a lot have 5 or more. So if you're working for a business, there actually is laws that there has to be notice posted on the job site and provided. So they can know to look out for that, look out to see, does my employer have this insurance? Are my rights posted somewhere that I can see that I should be provided this?
That's some good information there. And the Bureau does have several programs, in the drug-free workplace is one of those, Lance. And obviously we can see the benefits of that. How does the Bureau work with employers to make sure, and what does that program do?
Well, what the program does is it promotes safe and productive workplaces by discouraging drug and alcohol use by employees during the workday. And even though it is a voluntary program, you do receive benefits for participating. You get a 5% premium discount credit on your workers' comp. Yeah. It allows an employer to choose not to hire someone or choose to discipline someone if they do test positive for a drug or alcohol screen. And one benefit that's huge is the burden of proof shifting. On a workers' compensation claim, if he or she tests positive, then that burden of proof shifts to them, and then they have to show clear and convincing evidence that it was not the drugs or alcohol that caused the accident.
So I'm guessing that's a voluntary program to take part in this. How do you make that sales pitch to an employer to take part in that program? Well,
we try to promote the benefits and we try to encourage the safety. And here's the thing, Chris, there are a lot of employers out there that have drug-free workplaces. Mm-hmm. And they're already probably meeting our guidelines. They're just not signing up for our program, or they just don't know that it exists. So that's why we're out there trying to promote this program, encouraging these employers to sign up.
So if they already have that program, they might as well link up with the BWC so they can get the benefits of having it.
Absolutely, that is correct.
And we talked about insurance a little bit ago, but the Bureau has a fund for unemployed insurers, and kind of go over what that does, how that helps folks.
Yeah, so there's 2 primary functions of what we call the Uninsured Employers Fund. We've got a compliance side of things, and that's where we have investigators that are going out into the field. They're working with businesses and helping to make sure that the businesses that need insurance have it. They're spend a lot of time educating and helping those businesses get on track and get the insurance coverage that they need. So if there is a period of non-compliance for any of those businesses that we identify have been operating without coverage, there can be a civil penalty associated with that. So that civil penalty may vary depending on how long the business was operating without coverage, and if they're continuing to operate and haven't gotten a policy like we have asked them and educated them about. So those penalties that are collected by our agency then go into a fund called the Uninsured Employers Fund. And that helps provide benefits for people who are injured on the job when their business did not have workers' comp insurance at the time. So like I said, those injuries could be financially catastrophic for individuals. So what they can do is, once they have gone through the court process, like Troy was mentioning earlier about mediation, if they're not able to resolve that, then while they're going through the Court of Workers' Compensation claims, certain eligible employees did not have insurance coverage at the time can apply to have up to $40,000 of medical benefits, temporary disability benefits, or a combination of either provided by the Bureau. The employer would still ultimately be responsible for that money, but it would help just get the ball rolling for the employee. It would take the burden off of them and help get them continued medical coverage throughout the claim.
Because when someone's injured at work, for the worker, you have a loss of wages, but you also have those medical bills, so they can really add up when you're not bringing any money in.
Right. And for we can also provide up to $20,000 for the dependents of a deceased worker. So if someone was involved in a death-related, a work-related death, then we can provide some limited benefit for their family.
And a lot of the education takes part at the annual conference that you all have. And tell me why that is so important for folks across the state to take part in and kind of learn more from this annual educational conference.
Well, the great thing about the conference is that it gets all of the people in the workers' compensation system in one room. And I think that it's really great. At our conference, there's a lot of emphasis on networking. So in addition to the different tracks that are related specifically for an employer or for attorneys or for case management workers, we've got an entire room that is filled with all of the big players in the workers' compensation system where we can work together and network and get to know one another on a level that's outside of a specific claim.
That's great, and it's all about the education. If you don't know about it, you can take advantage of it, so we got to get that word out there.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good information there. Well, the Bureau's medical unit is a big part of what they do there, and still to come on State of the Workforce, we'll take a look at what they do and why they oversee the training that helps keep the best interests of Tennessee's workers in mind. Stay with us. We'll be right back. The BWC's medical unit ensures that medical services related to workers' compensation are appropriate and consistent with the best practices. Susie Douglas and Marche Jones join us now to give us an overview of the medical unit and how it operates. And Susie, tell me about this and why the medical unit is so important to the long-term care of an injured worker.
Timely, appropriate medical care can improve the outcomes for an injured worker and also lower the total cost of the claims for the employers. So the medical unit programs help avoid unnecessary delays in medical treatment. The medical unit programs also help protect and increase access to quality medical care providers in workers' compensation.
So when there is an injured worker, there's a lot of medical things going on, a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot going on. There's a case management system that the Bureau has. How does that work and how does it benefit the injured worker?
Absolutely. So we have a case management program that the case managers aid with us. They are a very vital part of this because they help get adequate care for the injured worker at a timely and a concise manner. Because there's so many parties involved, we need someone to actively be a part of the treatment consistently.
Just to make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do and everything is on there. And there's a review process too. What does that do and what function does that play?
The medical unit, the medical director specifically, reviews appeals on denied treatment. So the medical director can uphold or can reverse a denied treatment for an injured worker. So that again helps avoid any unnecessary delays and helps the injured worker receive treatment earlier.
And how important is it to get that treatment in the long-term recovery of an injured worker?
Well, it benefits the employee definitely, but it also benefits the employer because their injured worker is going to receive treatment that's necessary earlier and have a better outcome for both parties.
And Marche, when you're trying to sell, someone to take part in this case management program, what do you tell them the benefits are that they're going to receive and how that's going to help their recovery process?
They receive 24-hour care. They are consistently being used with the case management and the adjusters as well as the claim specialists. Is there any other thing that I'm missing out, Susie?
Oh, I think that's good. Mm-hmm. Yes, they coordinate the medical recovery of the injured workers and they help facilitate communication among all parties.
And what about finding doctors who work with workers' compensation patients? Is that a tough thing to do and to make sure that they have the right care that the worker's going to get?
Yes, and what we're trying to do to assist that situation is we have a certified physician program at the Bureau. So right now we are educating physicians on best practices for both evaluating and treating injured workers. We also educate physicians to encourage the injured worker to take more of an active role in their recovery. And so this helps again with the outcome for the injured worker. And we have those physician listings on our website so employers can go there and look at the physicians that have been certified to treat injured workers in Tennessee.
How often do you find it where there's somebody who's been working their entire life, never been hurt on the job, and then all of a sudden you're hurt on the job and what to do, and they contact you? Is there a step to get them into the process just to educate them on what needs to be done?
Well, for the ombudsman program, they are very helpful to injured workers if they don't know which direction to go, what their rights might be, or if the adjuster's not able to call them back quickly enough. So they will help provide that direction for them. For physicians, if there are questions about physicians or the doctor has ordered something and they haven't heard whether it's been approved or denied, they can contact us and we can look into that for them. And again, if their treatment's denied, they can appeal it with the Bureau.
And again, a lot of people have probably and hopefully never have to deal with the Bureau of Workers' Compensation. What do you think is one of the most, something that someone would not know about the Bureau that you think is a great thing that they should know?
Well, I'd like to mention the REWARD program. REWARD stands for Return Employees to Work and Reduce Disabilities. And in that program, we support employers through resources and scheduling meetings for them to share their experiences for return to work. We also have an online toolkit and bi-monthly newsletters to help employers to improve their return to work program or to start one. And if they do an exceptional job, we actually recognize them once a year at the Bureau as an exceptional employer on the REWARD honor roll. But it's not only beneficial to return an injured worker to work safely within their medical restrictions, but it also helps employers save money doing that. So we also have free training for employers who want to learn how to coordinate return to work programs. That's pretty unique to Tennessee, so we're really proud of that program, and employers are welcome to check that out on our website.
And that's the REWARD program. All right, well, thank you very much. We appreciate your time and explaining some of these things to us. Thank you so much. Well, if you'd like to learn more about the Tennessee Bureau of Workers' Compensation, we have a great article for you to focus on. It's in our focus section of our website, and that's tn.gov/workforce. You can go there and read more about that. And that is the state of Tennessee's workforce. You can also learn more about the different programs that the department offers to all Tennesseans at tnworkready.com. Of course, you can find us on social media too. We're on all the different platforms. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you next time on State of the Workforce.